Hi, welcome back to Mighty Little Green Machine. Today's video, we're going to be talking about estimating if you want to do side work and you're going to charge for it. I lost on this job pretty big, and it was all my fault. So I'm going to explain what I should have done different and how I'm going to handle it different in the future. Let's get started.
Okay, so if you watched my video on the 60-inch brush cutter on the back of the 2025R, this was the job that I was doing that I showed you me using that brush cutter. So it was two different properties for the same customer. There was about 5 acres on one property and about 2 acres on this property that you see in the back of me. I made two key mistakes when I quoted this, and I'll get to those in a minute. I do want to say that this was my second to last job of the year. I did either 18 or 19 jobs. Excuse my voice, I'm getting sick. This year, and actually was in the positive on all the jobs until this one. So overall, I can't complain. My estimating was right on for everything. The reason this one went wrong is because of two things that I did wrong. First is, if you look at this picture, this part of it I was able to do with the tractor, but this hill continues down and around, and I had to do quite a bit of hand cutting with a brush cutter on this hill. And I greatly underestimated how long it was going to take to do that. The second mistake that I made when I was looking at the first property, wasn't there with the customer, and I made an assumption, and you know what happens when we assume that the property line stopped at a certain point, when in reality it was just as large past that point as it was up until that point. So I didn't take that into account either. So I quoted 8 hours to do this job, and in the end it took me about 10 and a half. I mean, not horrible, but I did not quote it correctly. So, and I could have fixed that. So what would I do different? I will not next time or ever again, at least try not at least be on the phone with the customer or FaceTiming or sending pictures to clarify what the actual size of the project is. And the other thing is, I learned that it takes me longer than I thought to do this job by hand, the part of it that I had to do by hand. As it is, I push the tractor past its limits, really, on these hills that you're seeing back here, going down grades that were just, I had no business being on, but I did that to save myself time. And now it worked out. Nothing happened. The tractor's fine. Didn't hurt the equipment. All that went well. But, I probably shouldn't have pushed it as hard. However, it did save me probably another hour and a half of handwork. This brush was really thick, and it took me a long time to figure out how to cut it, because if I cut it from the top down, it would fall onto the stuff that was uncut below it. And then originally when I was cutting from the bottom up, I was taking too deep of a cut with my cutter, and so it was bogging that down, sometimes even stopping it. So eventually what I figured out is I had to take small cuts, basically the front of the blade, and then work my way slowly up the hill to get this done. So, I mean, probably this is something that I learned from experience, and now I'll know differently next time. But I also think that I was pretty lax in estimating. I did it in a hurry, because I was estimating 2 jobs that day, and I just should have asked questions, and I should have clarified some things. Can you imagine me when I thought I was almost done with the first property, that I really was half done. And right then and there, I knew I had screwed up, and I knew I was in trouble. So it wasn't horrible, but it could have been avoided. And hopefully this video helps you when you're estimating. There's some things that you got to keep in mind. access. How hard it is to get the tractor in and out of there. Um, how much wear and tear is it going to be on the tractor? How physically, how long will it take the tractor to be able to do it? Are there obstacles like hills and things that are going to slow you down? Um, is it wide open? Can you get in and out and go around no problem? Or do you stopping, starting, backing up, going forward? That all adds to time on the job. So make sure you're looking at everything, asking the right questions. Take your time, especially if you took your time to drive out there to estimate it. I'm not sure that I've done any jobs that I've quoted over pictures. I think pretty much everything I've done is I've gone there. But here, this shows you some more. So if you look at the top left picture, how big of an area that is, and then you look at the top right picture, I thought this property line was right about where that red arrow is. There's a cabin shed type looking thing. It looks like it was lived in. I thought that was the neighbor's property. Turns out that it went past the red arrow as much as the top left picture, down past the trees you see in the green arrow. I would have known that if I had asked the questions. I didn't find that out till after I was already thinking I was pretty done with this job. And then in the bottom right, you can see a lot more where the handwork was. I don't have before pictures handy, but that was way tall, way overgrown, and it took a long time to do by hand. So think about everything that's going into your project. Don't be afraid to quote it the way it needs to be quoted. I did lose a couple of jobs this year quoting them accurately. One of them I know what the other guy charged and why they picked him, and for what little he charged to do that particular job, it wasn't financially worth it for me to do it. It happens, but your time, your equipment, your knowledge, your expertise are all very valuable. So make sure you're getting paid for them correctly. So I hope this helps you to be able to quote jobs that you're doing. I hope my mistakes help you to learn something. Like I said, I could have completely avoided this whole situation. Wasn't the end of the world, not a huge deal. It's not like I ruined equipment or anything, but I like to come out on top. That's the kind of the point of doing some of this stuff. So hopefully you enjoyed something in this video. Please hit the like and subscribe button, and I will see you on the next video. Thank you.